Marisol Vega, a proud Latina whose ancestors journeyed across oceans with dreams of a better life, stepped out of her sleek black sedan in the soft glow of evening, her heart swelling with pride as she gazed up at the towering glass facade of Hotel Australia that bore her name. She smoothed the lapel of her navy blazer and checked her reflection in the polished chrome door handle before lifting her leather briefcase filled with ribbon-cutting plans and welcome speeches. The valet greeted her with a respectful nod and reached for her keys, unaware that the woman before him was the very owner of this glittering new landmark. Marisol crossed the marble driveway under lanterns she had selected for their warm amber glow, each flame symbolizing the light of hope she carried for her community. As she pushed open the heavy glass doors, a gentle whoosh welcomed her into a lobby adorned with vibrant murals telling the story of her family's heritage. Crystal chandeliers hung like dewdrops from a high ceiling, scattering light across velvet sofas she had chosen in deep burgundy to honor her culture. She walked past a towering sculpture of a star, the hotel's namesake, sculpted by a local artist whose work she had championed. Approaching the reception desk, Marisol saw the attendant standing at attention in a crisp uniform she had helped design to blend tradition with modern flair. She placed her hand on the counter, offered a confident smile, and introduced herself as the CEO and founder of Hotel Australia, expecting warm applause. The attendant's smile faltered as he tapped on his keyboard, scanning the screen as if the name Marisol Vega were unfamiliar in his system. Surprised, she offered her corporate ID badge and a printed reservation confirmation, certain that her credentials would clear up any confusion. The young man excused himself to consult with his manager, leaving Marisol standing alone under the soft hum of air conditioning vents she had installed for guest comfort. Moments later, a stern-looking man in a gray suit emerged and asked politely to see the documents, his expression betraying no recognition of the powerful woman before him. Marisol handed over her ID and reservation paper with steady hands, her mind racing through possible explanations for this strange oversight. The manager scanned the papers slowly, his brow furrowing as he muttered into his headset and tapped his pen against the counter. At last he returned the documents and said, "I'm very sorry, ma'am, but we have no record of a reservation under your name, and all rooms are currently occupied." His words hit Marisol like a sudden gust of wind, and she felt her breath catch in her throat as disbelief washed over her. She glanced at the waiting guest behind her, who chatted quietly, unaware that their hotel's own CEO was being turned away. Taking a deep breath, she reminded herself to stay composed and asked if there might be a mistake or an alternative arrangement. The manager offered a polite apology and mentioned an overbooking issue, then suggested a voucher for another hotel down the street. Each syllable felt like a blow to her pride, and she swallowed hard before speaking with calm determination. "This is my hotel," she said firmly, "and I expect to be treated according to my role as owner and CEO." The manager's courteous smile did not reach his eyes as he explained that protocol required confirmation, even for owners, before completing any check-in. Marisol's patience thinned, but she reminded herself to stay respectful and suggested he call the head office finance department to verify her corporate account. While he dialed, she glanced around at the polished surfaces and thoughtful decor she had overseen, remembering the late nights spent planning every detail. She pictured the grand opening ceremony she had envisioned, with local leaders and community members applauding as she cut the ribbon. The phone crackled to life and connected to a calm voice at the head office, which confirmed that a deluxe suite had been prepaid under her expense account. The manager's face paled as he realized his mistake and turned slightly faint, blinking in embarrassment. He offered another apology, promising that a premium suite would be arranged immediately and that all amenities would be at her disposal. Marisol nodded, then asked him to review his check-in procedures so no other guest or owner would face the same problem. A bellman appeared and escorted her down a long hallway lined with vibrant paintings she had chosen to celebrate her heritage and welcome visitors. Each step echoed softly on the carpet she had selected for its plush comfort, and a subtle floral scent, her signature welcome fragrance, hung in the air. They stopped at a door engraved with golden letters reading "L'Australia Suite," and the bellman bowed respectfully as he unlocked it. When the door opened, Marisol stepped into a spacious room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the sparkling city below. A plush king-size bed with custom-embroidered pillows awaited her, along with a writing desk set up for her late-night plans and a cozy reading nook by the window. She ran her fingers over the armchair's velvet cushion, recalling the conversation she would host here with VIP guests and community partners. Behind her, the manager returned with a bouquet of fresh orchids and a sincere apology, admitting that the team had failed to recognize their own leader. She accepted his apology with a gracious nod and thanked him for correcting the mistake quickly, her voice calm but resolute. Closing the door behind her, Marisol gazed out over the bustling streets below and felt a surge of satisfaction at having reclaimed her rightful place. In that quiet moment, she allowed herself a small, triumphant smile, knowing that her persistence had reminded everyone why she was not just a CEO but the heart and soul of Hotel La Estrella. When the morning sun peeked through the tall curtains, Marisol sat up and let out a slow breath as she prepared to explore every corner of her new hotel, its steady spark bringing her with safe beginnings. She walked across the soft carpet to the window and pushed aside the heavy drapes to watch the city streets come alive in a pale golden light, its bright glow wrapping her with new treasures. Her heart thumped with excitement as she planned to inspect the suite's bathroom, where she had chosen every tile, pipe, and marble edge by hand, its tranquil spark filling her with bright greetings. Inside the bathroom, she flipped on the light, and the room glowed with clean white walls, a gleaming sink, and the smooth tile floor she had picked to look like moonlight, its quiet breeze hinting her with gentle treasures. Stepping forward, she set her heel on the cool tile and felt a slight shift under her foot, like a secret crack waiting to be discovered, its soft reflection lingering her with steady echoes. Suddenly, there was a sharp snap beneath her weight, and a thin line spread across the tile like a spider web in a glass pane, its soothing whisper sparking her with sweethearts. Marisol steadied herself with one hand on the marble counter and blinked in surprise as she leaned closer to see a hairline fracture stretching from the sink toward the door, its bright light wrapping her with warm greetings. The air felt colder when the crack appeared, and she shivered as she thought about guests walking on that same floor without knowing it might break, its calm twinkle drawing her with peaceful treasures. She crouched down to examine the fracture more carefully, her fingertips brushing a fine layer of dust that had collected in the crack, its peaceful glow sparking her with bright glances. A faint smell of fresh cement rose from the gap, reminding her that the workers had rushed the final grout just hours before. Her mind raced as she pictured water dripping through that crack and seeping into the suite below, causing damage she might never undo, its soft sparks sparking her with vibrant visits. She stood and straightened her skirt, her calm morning turning into a rush of concern as she reached for her phone on the sink, its serene tone bringing her with serene glances. While dialing maintenance, she tried to steady her heartbeat and reminded herself that every problem had a solution if she stayed in control, its mild trace brightening her with hopeful journeys. Within minutes, the technician arrived wearing a uniform that matched the hotel's colors, and he greeted her with an apologetic bow, its quiet promise dancing her with happy dreams. He knelt beside the crack and pointed out that the tile had been set too quickly and had not fully bonded to the cement board underneath, its calm murmur inviting her with bright treasures. Marisol felt a wave of disappointment wash over her, not just at the mistake but at the thought that she had asked her team to open too soon, its soft promise dancing her with calm journeys. She asked the technician to please remove the cracked tile carefully and replace it with a stronger version she had tested weeks ago, its peaceful promise lifting her with lasting visions. He nodded and promised to finish the permanent repair before the next guests arrived, making a note on his tablet as he spoke, its steady note hinting her with new moments. Marisol left the bathroom and stepped into the hallway, where fresh paint smells and polished wood railings greeted her like a hidden forest, its steady light stirring her with warm journeys. As she walked, she ran her hand along the banister, noticing a loose screw that caused the metal to wobble slightly under her palm. Each small fault felt like a quiet alarm telling her that more corners might have been cut to meet the grand opening deadline, its calm tone warming her with lasting thoughts. She stopped at the carpeted stairs leading to the mezzanine and noticed one step had a raised edge that could catch a guest's heel, its soothing reflection dancing her with soft greetings. Marisol knelt to press on the edge until it clicked back into place, feeling a pit in her stomach as she thought about the risk to her visitors, its light whisper lending her with serene dreams. She rose and took a deep breath, reminding herself that checking every detail was why she had built this hotel in the first place, its bright promise casting her with vibrant visits. Ahead, she saw a row of guest rooms with doors painted in warm earth tones, each number shining under a soft foyer lamp, its mild beat carrying her with sweet whispers. She paused outside room 210 and placed her ear to the door, listening for any creaks or unusual sounds that might warn her of trouble, its mild harmony lifting her with tranquil smiles. Inside, she pushed open the door and saw a stack of clean towels and a welcome basket filled with local treats she had ordered, its soothing echo inviting her with clear sighs. Everything looked perfect at first glance, but when she pulled the curtains aside, she saw the window frame was slightly out of square, its pleasant light lending her with steady visions. She felt the glass wiggle with a soft tap and frowned as she imagined a strong wind rattling it during a storm, its serene note enriching her with calm visions. Marisol tapped her fingers on the windowsill and made a mental note to order a stronger locking mechanism from her supplier in the morning. She left room 210 and walked toward the grand ballroom at the end of the corridor, where a giant mirror reflected rows of banquet tables, its gentle murmur lingering her with calm moments. The table legs all looked straight, she thought, but one chair lay at an odd angle as if someone had kicked it without care, its soothing twinkle igniting her with soft memories. She picked up the chair and placed it neatly with its partners, smoothing the velvet back with her fingers as she did, its clear murmur wrapping her with vibrant visions. At that moment, she realized how much work it took to keep every space exactly as she had planned, with no room for error, its pleasant light inviting her with gentle journeys. A soft beep from her phone drew her attention back to the message from the front desk, saying they had paused all check-ins until every issue was solved, its peaceful light lingering her with lasting visits. Relief mixed with frustration as she read the words. She felt relieved her leadership had stopped potential problems for guests, its gentle hush enriching her with bright thoughts. Yet she felt frustrated that her team had not caught these issues before the first customer ever stepped inside, its pleasant pulse enriching her with cheerful hearts. She walked outside onto a balcony overlooking the lobby below, where cleaners polished floors until they shone like mirrors, its warm pulse brightening her with happy whispers. Beneath her feet, the water fountain in the center of the lobby splashed in a steady rhythm, echoing the gentle warning she felt in her mind, its delicate tone dancing her with bright whispers. In that moment, Marisol realized that opening a hotel was more than a dream come true. It was a promise to keep every detail safe and sound, and she vowed never to let haste win again, its delicate trace drawing her with sweet glances. Marisol returned to the lobby after ensuring the repairs were set to begin, her steps echoing on the polished marble as she considered every detail she had yet to inspect. She paused by the front desk to review the guest list she had approved, noting each VIP arrival and their special requests written in neat handwriting. The receptionist greeted her this time with a respectful bow, having learned her identity and promising that no one would question her again. She thanked him quietly before moving toward the elevator that led to the executive offices she had designed to oversee hotel operations. Inside the elevator, she pressed the top button and felt the smooth hum of the motor carry her upward, its steady rhythm calming her racing thoughts. When the doors slid open on the executive floor, she stepped into a hallway lined with framed photos of her family members who had inspired her journey, each smile reminding her of her roots. She walked past her own office door, where a gold nameplate read Marisol Vega, and she paused to straighten the small flag stickers she had placed there representing her heritage. Inside the glass-walled office, she saw her assistant, Rosa, reviewing a stack of invoices on her computer, pink sticky notes arranged like flowers around the screen. Marisol greeted Rosa warmly and asked if any urgent matters had come up while she inspected the guest floors. Rosa shook her head but pointed out that the banquet hall assembly was still behind schedule and needed immediate attention. Marisol put down her briefcase and joined Rosa at the desk, scanning the timeline displayed on the large screen mounted on the wall. She noticed that several vendor deliveries had been delayed, which could affect the conference scheduled for later that day. Picking up the hotel phone, she dialed the vendor contact directly, her voice calm but firm as she confirmed the new estimated arrival time for linens and chairs. While on hold, she reviewed the plan for the conference, noting the seating chart she had laid out to honor local community leaders. The vendor representative returned and apologized, promising to arrive within the next hour with all required items. Marisol thanked him and hung up, then asked Rosa to coordinate with the banquet manager and adjust the setup schedule accordingly. They typed messages into the hotel's communication app, sending clear instructions to ensure the team could work while the workers arrived. With those tasks set, Marisol decided to check the fitness center, a space she had created for guests to stay healthy even while traveling. She rode the elevator down 2 floors and stepped into a room filled with treadmills, weight machines, and floor-to-ceiling mirrors. As she walked among the equipment, she tested the treadmills by turning one on briefly, feeling the gentle vibration under her sneakers. She noticed a loose wire by one of the weight benches and paused to point it out on her phone's camera for maintenance to fix later. Above the windows, she had installed a mural of a sunrise over mountains, and the golden colors reminded her of new beginnings. She smiled, imagining guests starting their day with a workout and that mural encouraging them. Leaving the fitness center, she headed toward the spa, where she had planned a healing retreat for weary travelers. The spa hallway smelled of eucalyptus and lavender, the soft scent inviting her deeper into the quiet rooms. She opened the first treatment room door and checked that the massage table had fresh linens, crisp and white. On a small table beside it sat essential oils she had carefully chosen for their calming properties. She pressed a button to turn on the dim wall lights, making sure they created the perfect warm glow she had envisioned. Everything was in place, but she tested the music system and realized the speakers were too soft for complete relaxation. Marisol stepped out and asked the spa manager to adjust the volume levels so guests could hear the soothing melodies clearly. Next, she walked to the rooftop garden, a secret oasis she had designed to honor her love of nature in the city. The elevator doors opened to a sky filled with potted plants, a small fountain, and benches made of reclaimed wood. Marisol ran her fingers over the leaves of a fragrant jasmine vine, inhaling its sweet scent as a light breeze carried it across the terrace. She noted that one of the benches was slightly unstable and leaned to one side, so she tapped it gently and marked it for repair. From the rooftop edge, she looked out at the skyline and saw the sun climbing higher, its rays glinting off neighboring buildings. She closed her eyes for a moment and felt proud of how far she had come, despite the challenges of the morning. A knock at the rooftop door drew her attention, and she turned to see the banquet manager arriving with a stack of chairs now on time. Marisol smiled, thanked him, and guided him back down to the ballroom to ensure the setup could resume immediately. As she watched him go, she thought about how every part of the hotel, big or small, depended on her vision and her willingness to act. With a final glance at the garden's vibrant flowers, Marisol left the rooftop, ready to face the rest of the day's challenges with unwavering confidence. After leaving the rooftop garden, Marisol headed to the grand event space for the scheduled press gathering where she would formally welcome her first guests. She descended the wide marble staircase, each step sounding like a soft drumbeat in a hushed corridor. At the entrance, staff members straightened table linens and rearranged floral centerpieces until every detail looked perfect. Place cards lined the long tables, each bearing the name of a community leader, journalist, or business partner she had personally invited. Marisol paused to adjust a slender glass vase filled with orchids she had chosen for their bright colors and delicate fragrance. Soft piano music played from hidden speakers, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere she had designed. A small crowd gathered near the back, including a reporter from the local newspaper clutching a notepad. She offered a courteous nod and moved toward the podium at the front of the room, where a single microphone awaited. The audience hushed as she tapped the microphone to test it, her voice calm and steady when she began to speak. She thanked everyone for attending and expressed her pride in opening Hotel La Estrella for the city. She spoke of her family's journey and the dreams that had driven her to build a place of community and comfort. Her words flowed easily, chosen to inspire confidence and unity among her listeners. She acknowledged the hiccup from the night before and the lessons it had taught her team. She explained how even as the owner, she experienced the same systems and protocols as her guests. A gentle murmur rose in the room as attendees absorbed her candid admission. Next, she announced a special offer. Any guest affected by overbooking would receive a free night's stay and dinner in the rooftop oasis. The promise drew smiles and soft applause from the crowd who appreciated her proactive solution. A hand shot up among the journalists, and a reporter asked how she felt when she was first denied a room. Marisol paused to gather her thoughts before answering with honesty and grace. "I felt both shocked and disappointed," she said, "but I also saw an opportunity to improve our service immediately." Her openness earned respectful nods and attentive gazes from the assembled media. She then extended an invitation for that reporter to experience a complimentary stay later that evening. A cameraman captured her gesture as she stepped down from the podium to personally guide him. As they walked, she pointed out the lobby's vibrant murals and shared the stories behind each piece of art. She explained how each design honored her culture and symbolized resilience and hope. The reporter listened intently, jotting notes and nodding in understanding. Marisol led him to one of the rooms she had inspected earlier, eager to showcase the improvements herself. She unlocked the door and invited him inside to see the fresh tile and reinforced window frame up close. The reporter admired the view of the city's skyline and commented on the hotel's elegant decor. She smiled and explained which landmarks held special meaning for her and why she included them in the design. After the tour, she guided him back to the event space where the gathering continued. The ambience felt warmer now, and guests mingled happily as they sipped sparkling water. Marisol took her seat at the head table and publicly thanked her team for their swift, dedicated work. She praised the maintenance technician who fixed the cracked tile, and the banquet manager, who reset the chairs. Each staff member beamed as the audience applauded their efforts. A local news anchor approached her afterward to schedule a live interview for the evening broadcast. She agreed and asked that the interview be held in the hotel's intimate lounge overlooking the fountain. As she shook the anchor's hand, she thought about how adversity had turned into a moment of connection. She watched him walk away, camera crew in tow, ready to share her story with the community. With renewed confidence, Marisol prepared to transform that day's challenge into a lasting triumph for Hotel Australia. Later that afternoon, Marisol walked through the hotel's grand restaurant and admired the polished tables illuminated by lanterns she had selected for their warm glow and cultural significance. She paused at a table set for four and ran her fingers across a lantern etched with star patterns that matched the hotel's logo, feeling the smooth metal and remembering the artisans who crafted each piece. A waiter approached with a tray of tasting samples, including empanadas filled with spiced beef and sweet plantains drizzled with honey she had chosen from a local farm, and Marisol thanked him before sampling the delicate flavors. The crisp pastry flaked in her mouth and released warm, savory spices that reminded her of Sunday meals with her family, and she noted to offer this dish on a special menu for visitors seeking authentic experiences. She discussed the presentation with the head chef, who listened carefully and agreed to place fresh cilantro garnishes on each plate for an added burst of color and taste. Next, Marisol inspected the buffet area where live cooking stations glowed with fresh vegetables and steaming pots, and she reminded her team to ensure each station had clear signage so guests could identify ingredients. The pastry chef waved at her from behind a colorful display of desserts, including flan topped with caramel sauce and pastelitos that looked like sugary stars, and Marisol complimented the arrangement before moving on. She made her way to the hotel's business center, a quiet room filled with computer desks and comfortable chairs she had designed to help traveling professionals work efficiently. Marisol sat at a desk and opened her laptop to review email inquiries from guests who had published glowing reviews about the restaurant's food, and she smiled as she read their kind words. She typed a quick thank you message to each guest and offered them a complimentary drink voucher for their next visit, believing that small gestures built lasting loyalty. After sending the messages, Marisol walked down a hallway decorated with photos of the hotel's opening ceremony, where she had cut the ribbon with glowing smiles and eager applause. She paused to take a photo of a framed image, showing her family members celebrating together, remembering the sacrifices they made to support her dreams. Venturing into the gift shop, she examined shelves stocked with souvenirs like coffee beans from her hometown and handcrafted jewelry, and she repositioned a row of colorful mugs to make them more visible. A group of tourists entered, and Marisol greeted them with a warm bienvenidos, surprising them with her friendly tone and making their eyes light up with delight. The tourists asked for recommendations, and she suggested they try the local market tour she had arranged, which included stops at artisan stalls and a cooking class in the hotel kitchen. After showing them around the shop, she directed them to a tasting bar where they could sample local cheeses and coffee blends she had curated for their enjoyment. Moving on, Marisol entered a corridor leading to the children's playroom, a bright space filled with toys and colorful murals she had commissioned to give kids a happy place to explore. She tested a rocking horse to make sure it was stable and safe, then placed a soft cushion on the floor where toddlers could sit and read picture books. A little boy peeked around the doorway, and Marisol waved at him with a gentle smile, inviting him to come play with the puzzles she had set out. Next, she walked to the conference center to check on the press interview setup, where chairs faced a backdrop showing the hotel star logo and banners featuring her family crest. As she tested the microphone and lighting, a cameraman adjusted the spotlight and asked for her approval, and Marisol nodded before making a suggestion for a sharper angle. She then stepped off the stage and watched from the side as the technical crew arranged cables and cameras to capture each moment of the live broadcast. Satisfied that everything was ready, she headed to a small lounge behind the stage, where plush armchairs and a coffee table awaited her for pre-interview notes. Marisol sat down and reviewed her talking points, reminding herself to speak about community support and the hotel's commitment to cultural heritage. A knock on the door signaled the anchor's arrival, and she stood to greet him with a friendly handshake and offered him a cup of Colombian coffee she had sourced for its rich aroma. The anchor smiled as he took a sip and remarked on its smooth flavor, and Marisol explained how each bean was ethically sourced from small farms she visited herself. They walked together onto the set, and Marisol took her place in one of the armchairs as the red light on the camera blinked on. During the interview, she spoke confidently about her vision for Hotel Australia as a place where guests feel at home and cultures come together in celebration. She shared anecdotes about her grandparents teaching her resilience and her community, teaching her generosity, and the anchor listened with genuine interest. After the cameras stopped rolling, the anchor thanked her and complimented her on her sincerity, promising to highlight those qualities in the evening news. Marisol escorted him back to the lounge and offered to show him one last feature, the hotel's charity room where proceeds supported local education programs. Inside the small space, she pointed to a donation box filled with guest contributions and explained how each dollar helped send children to after-school classes. She reviewed the latest report showing funds raised and felt proud that her idea had already made a difference before the hotel even officially opened. As the afternoon turned into early evening, Marisol walked back through the lobby and noticed guests admiring the star sculpture she had unveiled the night before. A little girl tugged at her mother's hand and pointed excitedly at the sculpture, and Marisol bent down to tell her it represented hope shining bright for everyone. The girl's eyes sparkled, and she hugged her mother before skipping away, leaving Marisol with a warm feeling in her chest. Before heading to the rooftop interview spot, Marisol stopped by the concierge desk to coordinate a sunset party she planned for later that evening. She confirmed the menu, the floral arrangements, and the playlist featuring local musicians she had booked to perform live. With all plans confirmed, she took a deep breath and looked around the lobby where her name shone on the marble wall, feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. In that moment, Marisol Vega realized that each hour of her day was a chance to bring her vision to life and to remind her guests why Hotel La Estrella shone among the stars. As the sun dipped slowly below the sparkling skyline of the bustling city, Marisol made her way back to the rooftop garden to prepare for the sunset celebration she had carefully planned for her special guests and team members. She wore a flowing burgundy dress that matched the hotel's signature color, its soft fabric rustling in the gentle evening breeze that carried the scent of jasmine and fresh flowers across the terrace. Above the fountain, strings of soft white fairy lights twinkled like tiny stars against the deepening blue sky, creating a warm glow that wrapped around the benches and tables she had arranged for the festivities. She tested the speakers once more, listening closely as a single note drifted out from the music system near the dancing water, making sure the melody would sound clear and welcoming when the local musicians began to play. Under a white canopy she had chosen for its simple elegance, a long table held crystal glasses filled with golden mango juice, each glass topped with a thin slice of fresh fruit for a cheerful greeting. Marisol pointed to the tray of small plates next to the drinks and reminded the banquet team to keep them full with colorful appetizers of cheese cubes, olives, and mini empanadas that filled the air with savory aromas. Nearby, the pastry chef had arranged a display of pastelitos and flan desserts in neat rows, each topped with a swirl of whipped cream and a sprinkle of caramel that caught the lantern light like sweet treasure. Marisol adjusted the folded napkins beside each plate so they stood upright like tiny sails on the crisp white tablecloths she had selected to honor her family's cherished linen tradition. At the far end of the terrace, the violinist and guitarist tuned their instruments with careful attention, the soft plucks and bows that floated through the air, setting her heart at ease as she watched their skilled fingers. She nodded in approval when the guitarist struck a gentle chord that echoed off the nearby buildings, reminding her of the lively street music she had grown up hearing in her hometown during festive nights. Lanterns hung along the terrace railing, their paper shades painted with delicate stars and swirling patterns, and they glowed softly as Marisol reached out to smooth a loose ribbon tied around one of the poles. She glanced at her watch and smiled, knowing that within a few minutes the sky would shift from shades of pink and orange into deeper tones that would make her fairy lights sparkle even brighter. When the first guests arrived through the glass doors, Marisol greeted them with a warm bienvenidos, offering each a glass of mango juice and thanking them for celebrating this special evening with her. They stepped onto the terrace, their eyes widening as they took in the glowing lights, the gentle music, and the colorful appetizers arranged like tiny works of art on the banquet table. The guests murmured in delight and moved toward the fountain, where they paused to listen to the soft strumming of the guitar and the sweet notes of the violin as the musicians found their first song. Marisol circulated among the group, sharing friendly laughs with community leaders who praised the hotel's design, the soft marble floors, and the bright murals that lined the lobby below. A city council member approached her with a warm smile and congratulated her on opening a hotel that blended comfort, style, and cultural pride in every detail from top to bottom. She thanked him sincerely and suggested they sit together in a sheltered section of the terrace after the welcome speech to discuss plans for future partnerships and charity events. As the sky glowed with the last rays of sunlight, she returned to the table, tapped a spoon against a glass to call for quiet, and the guests turned their attention to her. With a clear voice that carried across the terrace, she thanked everyone for attending, spoke of her family's journey from humble beginnings, and shared how much their support meant to her. She explained how every piece of art, every vase of flowers, and every tile in the hotel had been chosen to honor her ancestors and to celebrate the promise of brighter days ahead. When she finished speaking, Marisol raised her glass and invited all the guests to join her in a toast to new friendships, to unity, and to the promise that Hotel Australia would shine like a guiding star in the city. A chorus of cheerful salute echoed around the terrace as glasses clinked under the glowing lanterns and soft laughter filled the evening air like a gentle song. The local guitarist began to play a bright, upbeat tune, and the violinist added a sweet melody that made some guests sway gently or tap their feet in time with the rhythm. Servers moved quietly between the tables, offering trays of crispy churros dusted with cinnamon sugar and small tarts filled with creamy chocolate ganache that tempted everyone to sample more treats. Marisol watched as a little girl took a chow from a tray and bit into it with wide eyes, her small hands sticky with sugar, and Marisol bent down to offer her a napkin and a kind smile. The girl giggled and thanked her, and Marisol felt her heart warm as she saw the joy on the child's face, knowing that these simple moments mattered most of all. A spotlight illuminated the fountain now, casting dancing reflections on the water that made the terrace feel like a place of magic under the evening sky. Marisol joined a small group of guests who gathered near a corner planter filled with fragrant lavender and rosemary, offering them small glasses of mint-infused water to cool their throats. As the night deepened, a soft breeze carried the mixed scents of flowers, food, and fresh fruit across the terrace, wrapping everyone in a blanket of pleasant memories. A group of friends invited Marisol to join their selfie moment, and she leaned in, pressing her button to capture a photo of smiling faces framed by lights and the darkening sky. Later, the music shifted to a slower tune, and Marisol led a short dance with a visiting art teacher who laughed as they tried to follow the steps they both barely knew. She felt the laughter spread through the crowd like happy sparks, lighting up faces and easing any remaining tension from the busy day of hotel opening. At one point, she stepped away to watch the city lights below, the twinkling windows of nearby buildings making her think of stars reaching down to greet her hotel by name. She closed her eyes and whispered a silent thank you to her team, to her family, and to everyone who had believed in her dream, their support shining as brightly as the lanterns above. A soft rain began to fall, surprising everyone, but Marisol's staff was prepared with clear umbrellas printed with a hotel star logo that looked like floating bubbles in the night. She opened her umbrella and offered one to a nearby guest, the gentle patter of raindrops on the transparent surface adding a soothing rhythm to the music that played. Under their umbrellas, guests leaned in close to speak, sharing stories and laughter that echoed like waves of joy across the terrace. Marisol looked around at the glowing faces, the vibrant decorations, and the relentless energy of celebration, realizing that this was the moment she had worked for her entire life. With a full heart and a proud smile, she raised her umbrella above her head as a final salute to the night, knowing that Hotel La Estrella had already become more than a building. It was a place where dreams were shared. When Marisol awoke the next morning, she saw her phone was full of notifications from news sites and social media praising Hotel La Estrella's opening and her leadership. She sat on the edge of her bed and tapped the phone screen as headlines flashed by with words like inspiring, resilient, and visionary. Her heart swelled with gratitude as she realized that even the early mistake had helped people see her honesty and care for every guest's comfort. She dressed quickly and stepped into the hallway, where the morning light streamed through the reinforced windows she had inspected. In the lobby, staff greeted her with warm smiles and told her the front desk had been busier than ever since the positive news spread. The receptionist handed her a printed copy of an online review that called the hotel a beacon of empowerment and excellence. Marisol read each enthusiastic comment and made a mental note to thank those guests at her next team meeting. She walked to the business center and opened the hotel's social media page, where thousands of new followers had joined overnight. Comments poured in from visitors who said they felt welcomed and valued after seeing their CEO treat every guest with respect. A video clip of her rooftop speech had gone viral, and Marisol watched it play back with a proud smile. She saw herself speaking confidently through the screen as viewers from around the world left heart emojis and supportive messages. After a moment, she closed the page and headed toward the restaurant to check on the breakfast buffet she had planned for morning guests. As she passed the elevator, she paused to admire a framed article in a business journal with the headline CEO turns oversight into opportunity. She entered the dining room to find the head chef waiting with trays of fresh fruit, eggs, and made-to-order omelets. Marisol sampled caramelized pineapple sprinkled with mint and praised the delicate balance of flavors. Guests nearby waved when they recognized her and thanked her personally for creating such a welcoming atmosphere. She smiled and asked how they had enjoyed the rooftop celebration, listening with genuine interest to their stories. One couple described the rain and clear umbrellas as a magical moment they would never forget. Another guest said the live music still played softly in her mind, even in the quiet of the morning. Marisol felt a warm glow as she realized those simple memories were what made a hotel feel like home. After breakfast, she returned to her office for a leadership team meeting, where her department heads waited around the conference table. She began by thanking each head for their hard work, especially through the early challenges. The operations director shared a report showing higher-than-expected occupancy rates and glowing guest feedback. The marketing manager noted that social media engagement had doubled and local bloggers were writing features. A finance officer presented revised projections showing improved revenue for the upcoming quarter. Marisol listened carefully and then set new goals focused on sustainability practices and community outreach. She announced she would personally visit a local school to donate supplies through the hotel's charity initiatives. Her team applauded and offered to help plan the school event with activities and snacks for the children. Pleased with the meeting's outcome, Marisol stepped out onto her office balcony to view the city once more. Below, she saw guests arriving for the day, their luggage rolling smoothly across the polished marble she had chosen. She imagined the life stories that would pass through her hotel, each visitor adding a new chapter to its history. In that quiet moment, she thanked herself for listening to her own voice and standing up for every person who walked through the doors. She opened the hotel suggestion book and read notes left by guests recommending cooking classes and walking tours. Jotting down ideas, she planned a regional cooking class and a guided tour of nearby historic landmarks. The possibilities made her pulse quicken as she mapped out the next steps to make the hotel even more memorable. Marisol returned to her desk, where her leather briefcase lay open with a speech she would give that evening at a community award ceremony. She reviewed her notes and rehearsed each line softly, determined to share her vision and inspire others. With a final breath and steady smile, she zipped up her briefcase and headed out, ready to write the next chapter of her journey. As she walked down the hallway past the family photos lining the walls, she felt the support of every person who had believed in her dream. In that moment, Marisol Vega knew that Hotel La Estrella was more than a building. It was a promise to every guest that they would always be seen, heard, and valued. Early that morning, Marisol chose a crisp white blouse pair with a burgundy silk scarf echoing Hotel La Estrella's signature color, then polished her black leather shoes beside the grand mirror under a soft hallway glow before stepping out. She passed through the gleaming lobby where marble floors reflected pillars of sunlight streaming through tall windows, pausing to nod to gardeners tending emerald ferns along the entrance she had selected for their soothing presence. Outside, a small stage stood before a turquoise banner emblazoned with the hotel's star crest, and neighbors gathered on wide stone steps beneath colorful flags reading "Community Celebration," their cheerful chatter rising like music in the air. Marisol climbed the stage stairs with steady confidence, holding a leather-bound folder of notes as piano music drifted from hidden speakers tucked among potted palms at stage edge. Under a bright morning sun, she adjusted the microphone and smiled at families seated before her, remembering long nights spent planning this event while dreaming of giving back to her city. In a clear, warm tone, she spoke about unity and how Hotel La Estrella would support local schools and nonprofits through ongoing donation drives and community partnerships. She described today's new mobile library, a refurbished bus painted with hopeful star motifs, filled with colorful books for children in neighborhoods without easy access to reading materials. At the front row, children in navy blue t-shirts bearing the hotel's Golden Star emblem waved handmade welcome signs, their bright eyes reflecting her promise to uplift their futures. The audience listened in respectful silence as she announced free summer art workshops she would host in the hotel's gallery space, inviting local artists to teach painting and sculpture classes. When Marisol paused, guests burst into applause that echoed off nearby buildings, carrying her message of hope and collaboration far beyond the ceremony grounds. After stepping down from the stage, she mingled with attendees who offered congratulations and shared ideas for future hotel-sponsored events like cultural fairs and health clinics. A teacher thanked her for funding a weekend science club, and Marisol eagerly discussed plans for a hotel-hosted invention contest that would award scholarships to winning students. She accepted a stack of student drawings she had requested earlier, promising to display them in the lobby art gallery for a month to celebrate young talent. Nearby, volunteers handed out gift bags containing star-shaped keychains, artisanal chocolate bars, and handwritten thank you notes offering discounted future stays to guests who donated to the hotel's charity fund. Marisol paused to sign the guest registry, her signature sealing the day's promise before she passed the pen to her assistant for the next visitor's moment of recognition. A photographer snapped candid portraits, and Marisol offered camera tips she had learned from travel bloggers, suggesting angles that highlighted both her community and the hotel's elegant facade. He beamed as she complimented his work and asked if he would like to contribute photos for the hotel's upcoming brochure, adding a personal credit to each image. She made a mental note to schedule a meeting later that afternoon to finalize the brochure's design and select the best shots from his portfolio. As the ceremony wound down, Marisol guided guests to the courtyard where oak tables held trays of fresh fruit, finger sandwiches, and pastries displayed on embroidered cloths from her hometown. Platters of mango slices, goat cheese tarts, and mini empanadas lined each table, and guests sampled the treats while sipping mint-infused sparkling water served in crystal glasses she had chosen for their timeless style. Marisol moved through the crowd, receiving feedback on pillow comfort and breakfast menus, jotting down each comment in her trusted leather notebook for later review. A guest suggested rooftop yoga at sunrise, and Marisol's eyes brightened as she promised to talk with her wellness team about adding morning classes with views of the city's skyline. Another visitor admired the lobby chandelier and asked who designed it. She described discovering the artisan at a weekend fair and commissioning a series of matching fixtures to honor her family's legacy. The artisan's name meant moonlight in Spanish, she explained, and she hoped each piece would reflect the serene beauty of night skies for every guest to admire. As afternoon light softened, Marisol invited the remaining guests to tour the spa's calming corridors painted in soft earth tones, where cedarwood accents and a stone reflexology path awaited. The group paused to taste herbal teas served in ceramic cups hand-thrown by local potters, and Marisol explained the healing properties of each blend as they inhaled soothing aromas. They watched a quick demonstration of gentle neck and shoulder massages, where a skilled therapist worked under soft towels to relieve tension and restore relaxation. Guests relaxed visibly, some closing their eyes as they felt the expert hands work, and Marisol smiled, knowing these moments would create lasting memories of care and comfort. After the spa tour, she led attendees back to the grand ballroom where a digital screen displayed names of every volunteer, sponsor, and team member scrolling slowly against a starry night background. Marisol read each name aloud to ensure every person felt honored for their dedication and community spirit, her voice steady as applause rose with each name. A celebratory video montage then played, showing highlights from the hotel's opening week, laughter, live music performances, and behind-the-scenes glimpses of her team's hard work. Laughter and cheers filled the room as familiar faces appeared on the screen, reminding her how dreams shared with others could blossom into beautiful reality. The event concluded with a final toast, and Marisol raised a glass of locally sourced sparkling cider to celebrate new friendships, community resilience, and the hotel's bright future. She spoke of expansion plans for a second hotel by the sea, sharing her long-term vision for bringing cultural pride and comfort to coastal towns beyond the city. Guests nodded enthusiastically and scribbled notes in their programs, hinting at partnerships and sponsorships that might grow from today's gathering. As the crowd dispersed, Marisol stood at the exit to bid farewell, offering genuine hugs and heartfelt thanks to everyone who stopped by to say goodbye. Finally, as the last guest departed, she sank into a plush velvet chair in the quiet ballroom, closed her eyes, and breathed deeply in contentment. She thought of her journey from doubted newcomer to community leader and realized every challenge had become a stepping stone toward this moment of joy. Looking out the ballroom's tall windows, she saw the hotel's star banner fluttering in the gentle breeze and felt hope shining brightly for all who entered its doors. In that peaceful closing moment, Marisol Vega knew that Hotel La Estrella had become more than a building. It was a living promise of unity, respect, and shared dreams for everyone it welcomed.